I'm the unit chief for the Listos program. I'm going to go ahead and take myself off video while we get started with the presentation, and then we'll come back on after the presentation has ended. Welcome to the FY24 Listos California Grant Program Change Request and Report of Expenditures and Report for Funds Training. My name is Janine Barron, and I'm the Unit Chief for the Listos program. Today, I have here with me our Division Chief, Cindy Logan, along with 3 of our 4 amazing grants analysts, Katie Hardoy, Maureen Shepard, and Greg Peterson. Herman Medueno is out and will return in a few weeks. A couple of housekeeping items. All lines will be muted as this call will be recorded for future reference. Please submit any questions to the chat, and we will take about 5 minutes to address them at the end of each section. If we are not able to get to your question, please reach out to your grants analyst for further information. The goals of this presentation is about how to submit a change request modification, and the second portion is about how to submit a report of expenditure and request for funds, also known as a reimbursement. A change request is initiated by the subrecipient when they want to modify the subaward budget, including changes to the indirect cost rate, adding a line item to any budget cost category, transferring funds from one budget cost category to another, reallocating funds or changes in the cost allocation. Other changes are changes to the grant subaward contact information, changes to the goals, objectives, or activities, making changes to operational agreements, or making changes to the payment mailing address. Who is able to submit a change request modification in GCS for approval? The following grant subaward contacts with the indicated GCS roles have the authority to initiate, view, and submit a change request modification. Grant subaward authorized agent, grant subaward director, grant subaward financial officer, programmatic point of contact, financial point of contact, and the governing board chair. The contact must be enrolled in GCS as an authorized agent or entity representative to be able to submit a change request in GCS. If you are not enrolled in GCS as an authorized agent or entity rep, you will only have the ability to initiate and view a change request. To initiate a change request from your dashboard, you will click on Searches and select Applications in the dropdown. After you select Applications, the Document Search window will appear. Under Document Search, click on Status and select Grant Subaward Executed from the dropdown. Then click Search. The document status must be listed as Grant Subaward Executed in order to make any modifications. Select the document name that needs a change request. Once you select the document name, this will bring you to the document landing page. From the document landing page, scroll down on the blue navigation and select Initiate Change Request under Status Options. Once you click on Initiate Change Request, you will receive a message box asking if you are sure you want to initiate a change request. Click OK. Scroll to the top of the blue navigation bar. You will see a Change Request option under Change Request. Notice that next to the change request, an exclamation point shows up indicating that something needs your attention. Select Change Request. You will see 2 options in the Change Request section Amendment or modification. Amendments are always going to be initiated by Cal OES. For example, changing the end date of the grant period. For more information on amendments, see the 2025 Subrecipient Handbook. Modifications are initiated by the subrecipients, so you would check the modifications box. Once you choose the modification box, the form will expand to include modification types, as well as a box to enter the justification for the requested change. Select the box or boxes that applies to your modification. You must select at least one modification type. You can select multiple depending on the type of changes you need to make. The type of modification you select will unlock specific forms for you to edit. In the next few slides, we will cover the modification options and the forms that will unlock for each type you choose. The first option is Implementing Agency. This is where you would change the implementing agency name. This is not a common change for Listos. Updating the budget is the most common modification. Choosing this modification will unlock the budget pages and allow you to make changes to the costs, add additional line items, change dollar amounts to the budget options, make updates to the program narrative, and budget forms. The next option is Organization Authorized Agent, formerly known as Official Designee. This is where you will change the authorized agent for your grant subaward. When changing the authorized agent, the organization information and contact information forms unlock. When changing the authorized agent, it is very important that you select that person on the contact information form as a grant subaward authorized agent so that they will have the ability to initiate, view, and submit modification changes. Some modification types requires you to upload additional document. If the organization authorized agent is changing, an updated proof of authority is required. There is an upload box on the modification form, which will allow you to add documents as needed. The next option is programmatic. For programmatic changes, the operational agreement, program narrative, and service area forms will unlock. The next option is grant subaward income. This option does not apply to Listos grants. Grant subaward income are payments received by the subrecipients for training or outreach materials, training registration fees, or membership fees. We are only showing this to you because this is an option on the modification request. If you select this option, your change request will be returned for corrections. This section is for updating the payment mailing address. When updating the payment mailing address, the contact information form will unlock. When changing a payment mailing address, the payment data record form 204 is a required upload. This form can be found on the Department of General Services website, or you can ask your grants analyst to provide it to you. The last option is contact information. This is used to update your contact's name, email, and general contact information. The only form that unlocks is a contact information form. Next, we will go over the steps necessary on how to submit the change request. First, select the modification type or types. You have the option to select more than one choice if needed. You will need to enter a required justification. The justification is to briefly elaborate each type of change you have selected. Here is an example of what a justification should look like. Be sure that the verbiage is clear enough for anyone to read and understand. When you are initiating any change request, it is important to click Save and proceed to move on to the next step. By clicking Save and Proceed, the required forms for the modification you are working on will unlock. Once you click Save and Proceed, you will see another pop-up that asks, "Are you sure you want to change the status?" Select OK. Once the changes have been made to the necessary forms associated to the chosen modification, there will be two scenarios to choose from under Status Options on the navigation bar. Revise Change Request Type. This allows users to go back and revise the modification and unlocks the related forms. The next option is to submit changes. This finalizes the change request and sends to the grants analyst for review. If you select the Revise Change Request Type, it unlocks the modification request options and the justification. This will allow you to select additional modifications and/or update the justification box to add additional information as needed. Once you update the modification type and the justification, be sure to click Save on the top right of the screen and select Save and Proceed to unlock the required forms. Once you have made all the necessary changes, choose Submit Changes under Status Options on the left navigation bar. A dialog box will appear and ask if you are sure you want to change the current status from Change in Progress to Change Submitted. After you click OK, your change is submitted and sent to your grants analyst for review. This next view shows you what it looks like when there are multiple change requests. When you click on Initiate Change Request and select OK, you will see that the change request option has an exclamation point showing that an action is needed. There is also an arrow. This arrow lets you know that there are more than one change request. When you click on the arrow, it will show you the list of modifications already processed, as well as the new modification that you are currently working on. In addition, it numerically lists the order of your change request. Remember, only one modification request can be in process at a time. In this example, you can see that modifications 1 and 2 are already approved, indicated by the check mark. And the third modification that was just initiated has been requested, indicated by the exclamation point. If you need to make any additional changes, you can click on the change request with the exclamation point and continue with the current modifications following the steps that we covered in previous slides. These next slides will show you what to do when you receive correction notifications from your grants analyst with required changes to your modification request. When your grant analyst returns your change request, you will find it listed in the My Task panel on your dashboard with the status of Change in Progress. Select the document name to view the change request. After clicking your document name, in order to identify the updates that are needed, click on Notes in the Tools section on the navigation bar. Here, you'll find a note from your grants analyst with a description of what needs to be updated. To make your corrections, select Revised Change Request Type under Status Options. After selecting Revised Change Type, Request Type, the forms will unlock to make necessary changes. Once you've made your corrections and there are no other modifications to be added, select Submit Changes. This finalizes the change request and sends it back to your grants analyst. When the change request is approved by Cal OES, the status will revert back to Grant Subaward Executed. You'll know that your change request has been approved when it returns to this status. This concludes the change request portion of our training. Now we will take about 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions that were submitted in the chat.
Janine, at this point, there are no questions in the chat.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions right now pertaining to the change request in GCS? Richard, let me see here.
The question is, do we need to submit a change of request if there is a change in a person's title?
If it's a person's title that is on the personnel form, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to? Are you referring to a contact title change?
No, the contact information.
Okay. That's a good question.
It depends on the title, right?
I guess it depends on the title and if they're going to be moving, if the person is moving positions, meaning going from, the director to the financial contact, stuff like that. If anything changes as far as the names like that, then yes, we will need a modification. But I think if that person's direct title for that specific contact is not changing, you would not need a modification. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have questions?
Yes, Tyler is asking, as this is my first Listos grant experience, how flexible are the change requests? Can you briefly discuss a approved change example?
Good question. Tyler, you want to go ahead and take yourself off mute, please?
Okay, I'm with you now.
Hi. Okay, so as far as flexibility, what are you referring to?
I'm just, in applying for this and being awarded this, if we have, something, one of our categories that we received funding for, if for whatever reason we weren't able to move forward with that, we come up with an alternate idea and we
Right.
pitch an alternate idea. I'm just curious how flexible those kinds of changes are to the program.
No, perfect question. We're very flexible. We understand that when you submit your application, that's kind of a preliminary idea of how you plan to use the funds, and things are most likely going to change. There may be some line items that you didn't get to, and or money that you need to move around, which is fine. So you can submit as many change requests as you need during the duration of the grant cycle.
Okay.
But you also want to make sure you're referring to the subrecipient handbook and working with your grants analyst to confirm that what you're adding on is an approved expense.
Sure, absolutely. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have an additional question. To modify the Cal OES Subrecipient Handbook, Section 2.025, Equal Employment Opportunity. We are requesting a non-description clause stating the following: grantee may exercise hiring preference under the tribal employment rights ordinance or similar formerly adopted tribal law or policy as allowed by federal law. Is this a programmatic change? Also, where can we attach a copy of an agreement?
Good question. I know this has come up in the past. That would be something we'd have to follow up with legal on to see how we move forward with that. So we can respond to that question offline.
Another question, will we also receive a notification once a change request is approved or denied?
Notifications are not sent out when a change request is approved or denied. So you'll get your grant analyst will be working close with you if there's any corrections. Once it is approved, once it goes through the channels and approved by Cal OES, you do not get a notification or document message in GCS. You'll know it's approved when it's changed back to grant subaward executed. And your grant analyst will also follow up with you once that's approved as well, just to let you know. They should be talking with you regularly, checking in to see how you're going with your spending, with your account, if you have any questions. So you'll have a good relationship with your grant analyst, and the communication will be there. It just may not necessarily be done through the GCS tool.
Both of the previous questions say thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Al. Appreciate the questions. Okay, we're now going to move on to the next section. If we have not answered your question, or if you have additional questions, please email listosgrants@caloes.ca.gov. Next, we will be reviewing how to submit your report of expenditures and request for funds. When an application is in grant subaward execute status, a payment request can be submitted. Payment requests can be initiated two ways. The first option is by selecting the Initiate Related Document button located on My Tasks on your dashboard. The second option is by clicking Searches on your dashboard and selecting Applications. Once the search window opens, select your document name under Applications. It will take you to the document landing page. From here, you will scroll on the blue navigation bar under Related Documents and select Initiate Related Doc. The Initiate Related Doc button will open a pop-out window on your screen. To initiate a payment request, you must press Proceed. From the blue navigation bar, under Forms, click on Expenditure and Payment Details. Here's your expenditure and payment form where you will enter your payment information. First, you will enter the reporting period start and end dates for the request. For this example, we will be using June 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. If you have already submitted for June and have additional expenses for June, select Yes here. Next is the filter section. You can skip this section as nothing needs to be done here. Choose the budget cost category line item that best fits your situation. Enter the whole dollar amount for the amount you are reporting under expenditures reported. Then enter the whole dollar amount you are requesting to be reimbursed for in the payment request amount section. For match and in-kind match, these do not apply to the Listos program. If you do not have an advance, if you do not have an advance, these totals should match. If you have an advance and are paying it back, your payment request amount would be less than expenditures reported. The amounts will reflect in the total at the bottom of the page. Once you have completed filling out the payment request, click on Save in the top right corner of the screen. Once you hit Save, click on the Status button, which is a paper airplane icon on the black toolbar. Under Status Options, you have two choices. You can cancel the payment request, or you can click on Expenditure Payment Submitted and submit your reimbursement request. Either choice will give you a pop-up box asking if you are sure you want to make the change. If yes, click on OK. Additional information. All reimbursement requests greater than $0 must be submitted monthly. $0 reimbursement requests do not need to be submitted. You cannot submit a payment request until the month after your expense has been invoiced. And reimbursements are mailed out up to 45 days from submission. This concludes the report of expenditures and requests for funds portion of our training. Now we will take time to answer any questions that were submitted in the chat.
There's a question. Does the person submitting a payment request need to be an authorized signer?
There's only selected people that have the option to submit a payment request, and those are the authorized agents, are ones that are checked off to be authorized agent. So on your contact screen, on the bottom of the form, when you list all your contacts, you'll see a list of people on the bottom, and if they are checked as authorized agent, then they are able to submit for reimbursement.
There are no other questions in the chat.
I do see, though, that Richard Perez has his hand up. At least that's what I see there, maybe.
Richard's asking, what if we need funds prior to purchases or expenditures?
That would fall into the advance. You have one option, as discussed in the application training that we had. You have one option to submit your for request in advance. And if you do need one, you have to request that advance prior to submitting any reimbursement request and doing any spending for the program. So if you do need help with any advance requests, reach out to your grants analyst. If you're unsure who your grants analyst is, send an email to the Listos grants box at listosgrants@caloes.ca.gov.
Next question. I got a call and missed where to start. Will the slides be available?
Yes, the slides and the recording will be available in the near future. They'll be sent out to everyone that was invited. Any
Okay, we
other
have no further
questions?
questions.
Anyone else? We definitely appreciate your time. If you're a new grantee, we look forward to working with you. If you're a returning grantee, welcome back, and we can't wait to continue our relationships. I don't see any other questions coming in. Oh, here we go.
There is something additional just to follow up on your response to the tribal equal opportunity. Do we contact who do we contact for legal?
You would reach out to your grants analyst and work with them directly, and they'll do the steps to get that approved if applicable.
And then we have another question or request. If we have more time, can you do the submission again?
As Erin, why don't you take yourself off mute, please?
Thank you. Sorry, I got a call and I missed the entire first 3 steps of how to get to where you need to go in the portal. So I was just saying, since we do have more time, is there any way you might go over that again? Sorry.
No, that's okay. And since, well, what we'll do is we'll have your grants analyst reach out to you and give you a little one-on-one time until this gets sent out. More than happy to do that. What organization are you from?
Yosemite, Sequoia, RC, and DC.
Okay, and do you know who your grants analyst is by any chance?
It's Miss Katie.
Okay,
That's me.
Katie will reach out to you and go through that portion with you individually.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Additional question for clarity, we can request reimbursement for June, correct?
Yes, that is correct. If you have expenditures for June, as this grant the grant program started June 1st, 2025, you can submit for June. Rule of thumb is your expenditure should be done the following month of the submission of the month of the submission you are reporting. So for June, you want to get them in by July 31st. For July, you want to get them in by August 30th. Did that answer your question, Michaela and Darnell?
Yes, it did answer the question. Thank you very much. So just to follow up on that, since we're moving away from the Forms 2-201s, do you anticipate the timeline to approve the reimbursement will be shorter?
Well, there's still the 45-day window.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. You're giving yourself a lot of room. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Because it still goes, essentially still goes to the same cycle on the back end. It still has to go through our accounting and then, send out to the Secretary of State, to get those checks mailed out.
And then I
Thank
have
you.
another additional comment. Can my analyst reach out to me when available, please? And thank you for Rincon. That's Joshua
Coast.
I think that's
Yeah.
that's one of mine. Yes, I can reach out to you, Joshua.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Greg. And again, if you need to get hold of your grants analyst and you are not sure who that person is, send an email to listosgrants@caloes.ca.gov. That goes to my whole team, including myself, and that is monitored throughout the day. All the slides will be sent out to everyone that was invited once they are approved by upper management, and we'll get them sent out. There's a process for the video, and we have to get that approved and tailored to be sent out before we can send them out. So hopefully by next week, we can get them out. If you have questions prior to then, reach out to your grants analyst.
And then one more question. Who's covering for Herman?
Right now, Maureen is covering for Herman. So you can reach out to Maureen Shepherd.
And then Rosalinda says we were not invited in the original invite, but we'll be working in this project.
Rosalia, what organization are you from? Catholic Charity, I assuming?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Yes,
Catholic
Catholic Charities of
Charities.
Santa Clara County.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all right. Reach out to me, Rosalinda, and I'll go ahead and make sure that you get the recording.
Wonderful.
Any other questions?
No, just a comment from Joshua saying, great training and thanks Janine and company. Good job.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys attending. We're here for you. We're here to work with you, help you, guide you any way that we can. Like I said, we look forward to this new year. And just a reminder, if you currently have an award for a previous for FY23 that's still in process, none of it is in GCS. So you would follow the same rules and same processes, the paperwork that you have been following for the past year. That's not changing. This is specifically for any grants for FY24 and moving forward. All right, if there are no other questions, thank you again. And if anything else arises, please reach out to your grants analyst or email us at listosgrants@caloes.ca.gov. Appreciate your time and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.